Get here, Mr. Rue.
Here. Brian?
Yes, Commission, tonight we have one work session item, and that is an update on the drug court. And with us tonight is Judge Dan Carey and the Director of the Drug Court, Tracy Sullivan. So I'm going to turn it over to Dan and Tracy.
All right, thank you. I'm glad to see so many people here interested to hear about our drug court at the municipal court. We began the drug court about 21 months ago. We take those defendants with substance use disorder who are the most likely to fail on regular probation, what you might call the frequent flyers down at the municipal court. We try to identify the issues that led to their addiction and to prevent their recovery. Things like mental health, medical issues, housing, education, employment, family issues, and of course, their substance use recovery. Our team consists of experts in these areas who work with participants throughout the week to build skills to overcome those barriers. We meet as a team on Thursday afternoon to review each case before we go into the courtroom for a one-on-one with each participant. Our capacity is 25 participants, and we're there. Our very first participant in the drug court is expected to graduate in 2 weeks. She attends Clark State. She's gainfully employed. She's reunited with her daughter, taken care of all of her fines and costs, and she's so very proud of her sobriety, and we are very proud of her. The drug court model employs the carrot and the stick method. Poor decisions and bad behavior results in consequences, including increased reporting or meetings, assignments, community service, or jail. Good decisions and behaviors receive praise and incentives such as recognition, privileges, diminished fines, and tangible rewards. So because we cannot use tax dollars or solicit donations to use as those incentives, our team members have donated those. Now we've been awarded an OMAS grant, which in part can be used for some of those incentives. At this time, I'd like to introduce Tracy Sullivan, who is the director of our drug court, and she can give you some of the actual statistics about our docket.
Thank you. As the judge mentioned, the drug court team gets together every Thursday prior to case review to discuss attendance, progress, barriers, acknowledge success, and reinforce the goals defined. I'll begin by sharing our drug court team by the 8th the municipal court judge, myself, the director, public defender, prosecutor, Clark County Jail liaison, our drug and alcohol providers, McKinley Hall, Sunrise, Emerge, Full Circle, Right. We also have a team member from City Lookout to address any trauma or anger counseling that. And finally, to assist with employment, we have representatives of Ohioans. Other providers that we use locally are Safe Harbor, Mental Health, and Cross. At times, the participant can anticipate issues if they were to stay in the Springfield area for their treatment and request an out-of-town drug or alcohol. Other times, the participant may want to try something different after unsuccessful attempt at local treatment. The out-of-town providers that we use are Woodhaven and Dayton, Mary Haven of Columbus, Women's Recovery Center in Kenya, and the Coach Treatment Facility at. Currently, we have 26 participants, 18 men and 8 women. We are actively serving 19 of them. 2 are currently incarcerated, and 6 have absconded, which means they have not had any contact or in a warrant. Diagnosis of our participants are a moderate to high substance diagnosis, and currently all of our also diagnosed mental health called diagnosis. The most common drugs of choice are methamphetamines, cocaine, alcohol, fentanyl, and marijuana. Medically assisted treatment, also MAT, is available to all our program. MAT is a medically prescribed medicine that reduces craving or inhibits the feeling of the high, and also reduces the one was the most common MAT medications are Vivitrol, Suboxone. The most common mental health diagnoses that we see in our program are PTSD, bipolar, depression. Participants' level of treatment can range from residential programming, living inside a supervised treatment, partial hospitalization, either living inside or outside of, but attending 5 to 7 days of transitional housing, also sober living, and that's living in a lifelike home others have while it's treatment. There's also intensive outpatient treatment, which is 3 days a week, 3 hours a week. Outpatient, which is days, a couple of hours, and then after, and those were listed highest level, at least. Drug testing for our participants occurs at least 1 weekly at court by their probation in combination. The sobriety timeframes for our current participants is the living situation of participants. Some live in their own house or apartment, others live with relatives. We have one lady who has been living at a shelter, and currently, as of today, she lives in an apartment. And our others are either in residential housing. Employment, 10 of our participants are currently employed. Those jobs include work factory, nursing home, food service, construction, babysitting, barber, tree care, higher education. As the judge said, we have one, our graduate who is enrolled. We also had another lady complete a 4 SDNA. She is now. Some examples of our current incentives, lots of praise from Judge Carey. This goes a long way as these not reinforce life. Certificates and medals. During the Olympics, the judge came up with a great idea of offering bronze, silver, and gold medals to the participants, depending on what he rated them bronze. That went a long way. And the major one is examples of current sanctions are reporting probation officer, more frequent drug court, increased drug screening that happen. Community service hours, writing an essay, behavior corrected, final sanction. Examples of incentives would use with funding is payment of rent, utility, transportation. Huge. That would be getting bus pass, Uber gift card, Dial-A-Ride, purchase of birth certificates, payment of license, basic needs, food, hygiene, which all of our. We want to promote social sober activities, incentives such as movie pass, tickets to flash-ins, bowling. As you can see, the drug court program takes a holistic approach. Overall, Clark County Drug Court works with our established, as well as learning drug-free alcohol, maintaining good health, better ways of coping with life, just drug life, establishing becoming employed, or enhancing employment, develop a non-criminal pattern of increase social skills, self, and learn the warning signs to pass over lifestyle, be able to conduct our. In closing, I just want to know that upcoming our plan is to hire a drug, which allow time. And the drug court office has been completed, not functional yet, but it is complete on the second floor of the court building. And we hope to have it up and running with.
Well, the last thing that I would like to share, a couple comments that have been made by participants in our drug court. One of them, I've quoted this a number of times, he described his life as living in a fog for 20 to 25 years, not having any hope, not having any plans. And after being in the drug court for probably 4 or 5 months of being in the drug court, as everything has changed. The fog is gone. Now he's got plans for the future. He's got hopes. He's got things he wants to do. He has people who believe him when he says, I'm going to do this, or I'd like to do this with you. We have another participant in the drug court doing very well, and he's taken it upon himself to go back and talk with inmates in the jail about how great the drug court program has been for him and what it can do for them. He's gone out into the community with other organizations to talk about this. So I can tell you it's been 21 months, but I could not be happier with the progress that we've had in such a short time. And we have 19 individuals right now that are on the track to restore their life and get back as productive members of.
That's excellent. Kudos to you and your team. Thank you so much for working hard on this. Commissioner comments? Any questions?
Just thank you for all you're doing. I love how proactive and how you're, rewarding with real life things that, matter to people. So thank you for all you're doing. Your results, 19 on track. It's incredible.
Just want to ask, we have never had a drug court before.
There's a drug court in the juvenile court, but not in the adult court.
Okay. And surrounding counties, do they have drug courts as well?
When we were preparing to start our drug court, we went to surrounding counties and observed theirs. Montgomery County has a very big one. I will say this, I was surprised that for the extent of the problem in Springfield, that we had not had one before. It's been a project we had been working on for 6 years before we got started. So it took a long time to get it going, and it's overdue, but doing very well.
Thank you for getting it going.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Okay. I think that, is there a motion to adjourn the informal session?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. We got about 19 minutes before we start the formal meeting at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
messenger. I appreciate it. I'm Melissa. So I thank you. I didn't want to bug you, but yeah, I just was sort of curious. Like that pattern. Peaceful, strong time. I wanted to thank you and your family. My daddy's Joey Miller. Thank you.
The formal meeting of the City Commission is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Dr. Estrop? Mrs. Brown? Mr. Rue?
Here. Dr. Estrop is on a scheduled vacation, and Commissioner Brown is not feeling well this evening and cannot be with us. If you would stand for the invocation led by Pastor Jason Channels, followed by the pledge.
Gracious God and eternal Father, you are good and your mercy endures forever. We come to you with gratitude for this day that you have established and for the life you have blessed us with. Thank you for this beautiful city of Springfield, Ohio, wherein by your sovereignty you have allowed us to reside. Thank you for the government officials, civil servants, and every resident that you have called to partner with you in pursuing the peace and prosperity of this city. And thank you for the freedom and privilege we have to express our care and concern for this city with our mayor and the other city council members this evening. God, I pray that nothing is spoken from pretense or taken out of context, but let us speak the truth to one another in love. And let us take the time to listen to one another with open hearts of understanding. Finally, God, I want to dispel and dismiss the dark cloud in every word that has been spoken over this city that's not in alignment with your perfect will. And I declare that Springfield, Ohio is a city of light, where the fruit of your spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control grows in abundance. Let it be evident in tonight's meeting and the days to come. In the name of the Most High God, I pray. Amen.
I want to thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm going to read a statement before we begin public comments. The City Commission is committed to creating a meeting environment that allows for civil and constructive dialogue as we work together on the challenges facing our community. Tonight, we will continue to have public comment period to begin our formal meeting. Those wishing to speak have filled out a comment card and given that to the city clerk. No comment cards, no new cards will be accepted 15 minutes after roll call of the formal meeting. After the public comment period, we will hold the city commission comment period to provide an opportunity for commissioners to respond to the public comment period. We will also ask the city manager to have staff answers any questions that are posed during the comment period that do not require additional research. Questions requiring additional research will be followed up over the next couple of days, and the person asking the question will be contacted, provided they've given us their contact information. All questions not answered during the meeting will also be posted on the city website prior to the next commission meeting. Again, we want to create a conductive environment for constructive dialogue, and we will continually learn and evolve and create such this environment. At 4:15 today, the president of the Clark County Commission and I held a press conference to address recent rumors that have been circulating relative to the Haitian community. We wish to clarify that there have not been any credible reports or specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community. The news story regarding a cat being killed and consumed did not originate in Springfield, Ohio. It actually involved a Canton woman who was arrested for animal cruelty last month. Additionally, there have been no verified incidences of immigrants engaging in illegal activities such as squatting or littering in front of residents' homes. Rumors like these are taking away from the real issues such as housing concerns, resources needed for our schools, and our overwhelmed healthcare system. As it relates to driving, I made a statement at the last meeting that I am just as concerned as all of you about the reckless operation on our streets, speeding and distracted driving of motor vehicles in our community. In fact, I've continued to ask for support from the state at the state level to support us in addressing these major driving-related concerns. Governor DeWine held a press conference in Columbus at 3:30 this afternoon, and he ordered the safety director to provide resources through the State of Ohio Patrol immediately, beginning in the morning, to begin the driving data. This is a data-driven enforcement surge that will be held here in Springfield and Clark County to support our officers and the deputies in the area. We continue to ask for your help. As you know, we have continued to ask for support from our state and federal officials on this matter. We ask also that you please contact them as well, and as they represent all of us. We've provided hard copies of the letters and templates and their mailing addresses to get a hold of our state and federal officials. Use our template or develop your own letter and let your voices be heard also at the state and federal level. The draft letter template and contact information is also available on our website. Thank you. We're going to begin with public comment tonight, and I will call on Nathan Clark, who will go to the podium. Thank you, Nathan. You have 3 minutes.
We felt it would be in our best interest to be here after recent comments. You know, I wish that my son, Aiden Clark, was killed by a 60-year-old white man. I bet you never thought anyone would ever say something so blunt. But if that guy killed my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone. The last thing that we need is to have the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces. But even that's not good enough for them. They take it one step further. They make it seem as though our wonderful Aiden appreciates your hate, that we should follow their hate. And look what you've done to us. We have to get up here and beg them to stop. Using Aiden as a political tool is, to say the least, reprehensible for any political purpose. And speaking of morally bankrupt, politicians, Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump, they have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants, the border crisis, and even untrue claims about fluffy pets being ravaged and eaten by community members. However, they are not allowed, nor have they ever been allowed to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies. To clear the air, my son, Aiden Clark, was not murdered. He was accidentally killed by an immigrant from Haiti. This tragedy is felt all over this community, the state, and even the nation. But don't spin this towards hate. In order to live like Aiden, you need to accept everyone. Choose to shine, make the difference, lead the way, and be the inspiration. What many people in this community and state and nation are doing is the opposite of what you should be doing. Sure, we have our problems here in Springfield and in the U.S., but does Aiden Clark have anything to do with that? Did you know that an 11-year-old boy could be passionate about gardening, that he could haggle for a better price at a yard sale? Did you know that he researched different cultures to better appreciate and understand people that he interacted with? Did you know that one of the worst feelings in the world is to not be able to protect your child? Even worse, we can't even protect his memory when he's gone. Please stop the hate. I said to Aiden that I would try to make a difference in his honor. This is it. Live like Aiden. Thank you.
Thank you. Aurora?
Hi, good evening. My name's Aurora Lemko. I've been here before, and the three commissioners who are here tonight have in their possession 3 papers I've given to you in the past, probably about 2 months ago. Again, we're revisiting the issue of the resolution number 5844, signed on July 22nd of 2014, joining a network of other cities and immigrant-friendly communities called Global Great Lakes, and I want to say, and Welcoming America. I understand that the same commission meeting that I missed, Mayor Rue, you also missed. It was part of your vacation. And I understand that there was some discussion about how Welcome Springfield is no longer in existence and somehow is part of a church, and that's fine. One of my initial remarks when I presented this 2 months ago was that there was no sunset provision or an expiration date on this particular resolution. I'd like to revisit that and say, there still isn't. And if half of it has already, fallen away into nothingness, I would, have to ask why we are even bothering. On the third page that I provided to you is also the ending page of a letter from the executive director of Welcoming America, where you will see he has signed it. You had that 2 months ago. Also, you've had time to familiarize yourself with the entire packet I presented, and you will see that it was known just in this paper alone, but, why look for more? In 2011, that Welcoming America was a grantee of George Soros Open Society. I would like to ask each of the commissioners tonight to state publicly, and for the 2 who are not here, I'll accept their follow-up, and have any of you on the record to either introduce, to rescind this resolution, and the second part, how you would vote on rescinding this resolution. I mention this simply because one of the things that I find irksome is that on the appearance that Mayor, you made along with our city manager on the radio show up in Bob France radio show, and then again at your different appearances on Fox where you ask for federal dollars. I'm reminded of the mayor of New York City who openly admitted it was a welcoming city and then asked for federal dollars. It has never been made publicly known that we are in this network that is being funded by George Soros, and I do find it disingenuous to ask without full transparency.
Thank you for your comment. Richard Jordan, thank you. We have some answers for you after comments.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Thank you for speaking. We'll have answers for you after public comments. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Richard Jordan? Thanks, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just came to talk about the immigration influx that we're having. A lot of people are thinking that there's hate against them, that we're racist for feeling a certain way. Like a lot of people, this is the influx here has been a culture shock, to say the least. And I feel like our city is basically being treated like a flop house. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's like a house you can go to and just hang out. All right. Is there a cutoff point for the population here, or I feel like there should be a no vacancy sign right now, and people are still coming in. What's the cutoff point? Is there going to be 60,000 immigrants living here? Are they going to take over our whole city? I don't think they're going to do that. It's getting close to people are getting really fed up, and things are going to get ugly. I don't know if you want to see that happen. Because if you do,
Sir, I understand what you're saying, and I hate to do this, but saying things are going to get ugly is just slightly threatening.
That's the
And
truth.
I
That's
hear
the
you,
truth.
but I'm going to have to ask you to just step aside. For the same reason, in the last meeting, we had a gentleman that
See,
began
whenever
to
somebody
threaten.
says something you don't like, then you.
It's not that there's no comments in the ice. It's not that I'm completely
You're not letting
disagreeing.
me
I
speak.
empathize with your saying. I want you to say, so I'm just good. Let me just warn you right now. Please don't say things are going to get ugly or get worse or
It's the
anything like that.
truth.
What I'm saying is that sounds threatening to me, and I'm going to have to cut you off. So if you could continue on commenting on some of your concerns, that's fine. Okay?
Okay.
I'm just trying to give you some understanding of why I even interrupted you. Thank you. You can go ahead.
I'm very frustrated.
I understand.
And a whole bunch of people, along with the citizens that have born and raised here, a lot of people that are born here stay here. They don't go anywhere. They stay in. I got a lot of friends that have been born and raised here, and we feel like our city's being taken over. Like I said, is there a cutoff point? What's going on here with that? Are you going to just keep on letting them come in, to keep on busting them in every day? Illegal immigrants. Now you say they're legal right now under TPS. All right, but November 5th, if things go the way I think they're going to go, there's going to be a mass deportation. So what do you do? You're making all these accommodations for a whole bunch of people. What are you going to do when they got to leave? You're spending all this money. You're asking for more money now for immigrants, and our people, our citizens, are living on the streets. They're not being taken care of. If you're going to, while you're asking for more money, include our homeless people. Include our veterans that are on the street, people that fought for this country. This is an invasion. And a lot of people feel like that. I'm not the only one, but I'm man enough to say it.
Thanks for your comments. We'll
Thank
have
you.
some answers for you at comment. Please, no applause. Just to control the temperature of the room, I'm just asking that you do not applause. Thank you so much. We're going to be asked for Dave to come up. Dave Horning? Yes, it's hard to read the card. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, my name is Dave Horning. I'm from Circleville, Ohio, and we have concerns about the homeless situation, which could get worse in our county also. As I've researched this matter, I want to share some information with you that I have learned. There is a federal policy called Housing First. I encourage everybody to go home, Google this, look this up, look it up on Wikipedia. It was a federal policy. It was never passed by the U.S. House or Senate. It was a policy, a bureaucratic policy that was adopted during the George Bush administration that says if there's a homeless person, the first thing you do is give them a house. Now, we just heard the drug court say that if you're in drug court, you have to proceed, you have to behave, and if you don't, there are consequences, you will be removed. Under the Housing First policy, you cannot remove somebody if they are misbehaving. There's a thing you can look up called permanent supportive housing. So if the federal government comes in and says they're going to give you money in the form of permanent supportive housing, what will happen is if a person moves in there and they are using drugs like fentanyl, they will get a disability. That disability will allow them to get disability income. They can stay in that permanent supportive housing. They only have to pay a small percentage of their disability as rent. They do not have to get recovery. They do not have to do anything. So I encourage everybody to call this to your attention, to your state reps and your state senators. The good news is the U.S. Supreme Court has issued a decision called Chevron, and that allows people to take exception to bureaucratic rules that weren't passed by Congress. And so it's an opportunity. Springfield is a great opportunity to say, we would like the federal housing dollars to help with our problem. We do not and will not abide by the Housing First policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Francis?
My name is John Francis, and I live at 15 Inglewood Road. I just wanted to come up tonight and let you all know that many of us share your frustration with everything that's been happening in the city, both with new residents, but especially with those that have been here much longer. I want to thank you all for doing the most basic of things, your jobs, for staying the course and not resorting to the extrajudicial solutions that so many of the city's residents would like to see. Thank you for not restricting my freedom of movement and destroying the local economy with the city limit checkpoints people. Thank you for not bankrupting the city with thousands of civil rights lawsuits that would have surely resulted from the unlawful actions so many people in this room have repeatedly entreated you to take. Thank you for not deputizing a manners squad that, frankly, a lot of the people here would probably run afoul of. Thank you for conducting city business like members of a law-abiding, democratically elected body, and not like some backward Jim Crow mouth breathers with dogs and fire hoses and barely 2 brains. Like every other native-born person in this city, I received a taxpayer-subsidized Western education, which is undoubtedly the greatest handout the government has to offer, which is why I'm blown away by some people's willful ignorance, the most basic knowledge of civics and levels of government. On behalf of everyone who paid attention in 6th grade social studies, I apologize that you are constantly being blamed for the actions of state and federal government by people who were taught better. As a lifelong left-of-center independent living in an increasingly reactionary state, it is truly surreal time to be alive. I'm absolutely blown away by the lines of Republicans and alt-right voters who have spent years voting against government intervention in social matters, but who now turn to government to solve their social issues. Voters who fought against socialist overreaches like rent control and strong tenant rights, but who now suddenly complain that rent is too high. Voters who praise the legitimate virtues of free market capitalism, except when it comes to real estate. My heart goes out to you guys because you'll never be able to win with those people because they don't even seem to know what they want. There isn't much happening here that hasn't played out thousands of other times in every city in the country. I can't name any city of consequence that doesn't have a Chinatown, Koreatown, Little Italy, German Village. But there's also Little Guyana, Little Odessa, Little Yemen. In fact, there are many hundreds of ethnic enclaves in the US. There isn't anything happening here that hasn't happened in every one of those. And they're getting along just fine. Would I have personally chosen Springfield to have a large Haitian enclave? Probably not. Because I'm nothing if not lazy. And learning to live with strangers is challenging. But I'm also smart enough to realize that what I want is irrelevant. Because I live in the United States of America, and in this country, you should not get to pick who moves in next. Our country has a pretty notorious history of doing that, and it should be universally horrifying to any decent member of society. So thank you for not ignorantly repeating the mistakes of the past, and good luck while you chart your way through the same challenges that 1,000 other mayors and 1,000 other city councils navigated before you to the long-term betterment of the cities that serve.
Thank you, John. Messica, please. Messica Darby.
Hello, my name is Masika, and I'm here today to ask the questions that many citizens would like to know. I have watched the interview on Fox News with you and Mr. Heck, and I was asking myself, why now? I can speak for a lot of people in this community when I say that this has been going on for a while now. Our frustrations and concerns continue to fall on deaf ears. This community has been begging for help for some time, and we rely on our city council to be our voice. So we would like to know what policies and programs have been implemented in the last year, and if any, how does each program and policy benefit immigrants and the people in this community? We would also like to know who you have advocated to and what do they say they're going to do for us that would benefit this whole community? And what would those benefits be? Next, we would like to know what your plan is for our homeless. They are living in garages, alleys, abandoned houses, backyards, and pretty much anywhere. Also, we have to discuss the trash, feces, and other unsanitary conditions. We are concerned with winter coming. What are you going to do to protect our homeless citizens? This city cannot allow the homeless to be left out in the cold. That is not who we are, and their safety is very important to us. Do we have a deadline on fixing this situation? In addition, this leads me to question our housing crisis. We see all the new properties being built all over our community. We would like to know how affordable these properties will be, and when will these properties be available to our citizens? I've included several questions from the members of the community, and a few of them are there adults attending the high school alongside our teenagers? If so, what is the legal age limit for them to attend? And could we offer them college classes? Why does it take 2 hours, maybe longer, for our police to respond to 911 calls? And what are we doing about this? Our young people are killing each other. Guns, theft, crime is in its highest. What are you doing about that? Drugs and addiction have been a problem in our city for a long time. Homelessness and lack of police support is only contributing to that crisis. What new plans are you going to implement to combat the increase of drug overdoses and drug-related crime? Car wrecks and increase in car insurance. The increase in car insurance due to the increase of wrecks feels like a punishment to hardworking, insured-paying citizens. What can you do to offset this? This community wants and needs answers. We need to see and feel these actions. We want to be safe. We need to see positive changes. Friends and family are rethinking staying in this community. We need to know that those that we have elected are doing what's best for our residents in Springfield, Ohio.
Thank you for your comments. Yvonne Owens? Yvonne Owens? Charlie Fensman?
Name is Charlie. I'm a fence man. I've been in business over 50 years. I get along with everybody in the community. And my main concern is I believe that everybody should be treated equal. If the Haitians, as everybody wants to talk about, wants to come here and better themselves, it's all well to do. The Haitians ain't the only people that don't know how to drive. You know, so we got to make that known. The Haitians, as supposedly, quote unquote, ain't the only one that steals. You know, as Martin Luther King said, he had a dream that one day, little white girl and little black boy will be holding hands. That's the dream that I have. I'm 64 and a half years old, and I still haven't seen that dream. And it's really sad that we want to treat people like that. You know, it's been like that. You know, if you're up here, a millionaire, this guy down here, he ain't equal to him. He's not to his status. But we got to realize everybody is equal and everything takes time. And the Haitians, or whatever you want to call them, they're just here to try to better themselves. And eventually, most of them probably learn how to drive, you know. And if you haven't seen them killing no ducks, if you haven't seen them stealing nothing, don't make no accusations, you know, 'cause all that does is start an avalanche. So hopefully, sometime soon, this situation, we won't be down here talking about the Haitians aren't wanted here, because as far as I'm concerned, they're just as welcome as the white folks, the black folks, the Mexicans. I'm Indian, they're just as welcome as the Indians. They're all equal to me. We all bleed the same color blood. So that's what we really need to do, Mr. Rue.
Thank you.
You know, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Please. Dana Miller. Weldley. Miller, what? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Hello. And thank you for this. Thank you everybody else for coming and listening. First I want to start by, there's supposed to be a driving education program, and I really appreciate that. Hopefully it will help. I am a disabled elderly woman that has such high anxiety leaving my house that I rarely do. And when I do, I'm armed and I have my 120-pound pit bull with me. I've been followed. I've been groped. I'm 58 years old. I've been called racist because I'm white. I've lived in the south end of town for my whole entire life. Our family home is there. My children have homes there. Recently, my youngest moved to Montana to get out of here. I had another one move to another town to get out of here. My children are leaving me. I do not blame any of this on any other people than our city managers. The influx has come in so fast, and they haven't been educated on our ways, on our laws. They need to know these things. That's causing so much hate and division. This year, the division in cultures has been as bad as it was in the 60s. I have not seen it this bad since the 60s. And yes, I was there. I don't care to go through it again. I come from a very multicultural family. My grandmother had one that was Cherokee, one that was Blackfoot. I have a Japanese aunt. I have a black daughter-in-law. I come from a very multiracial family, multicultural family. I'm scared. I'm scared for the women here. I'm scared for my granddaughters. The schools are overcrowded. Our education system has went in the trash in the last 10 years anyway. You ask a 16-year-old out on the street, what does independence mean? They don't know. Ask them what year this city was founded. They don't know. Ask them what year this country was founded. They don't know. This influx is making it worse for them. Housing. Housing is another issue. The overcrowding in housing. My son had to give me his house and move to another house because I can't find housing. I went to an apartment complex being built, and I was told that I am not allowed to apply.
Sorry. Ma'am, I thank you for your comments. We've had 3 minutes. We've written several of your statements down, and we're going to look into them for you.
Thank you.
Noel Bales? Noel? Noel?
Taco Tuesday.
Okay.
Go on. And now, we get it.
Thank you. Okay.
I did not mean to bring any ill will to my city. Everybody knows at this point who I am, and I'm not really comfortable with that. I try to keep to myself, and that's not what I wanted, was for this to happen. I did not mean to bring any ill will to the city. All right, first and foremost. Secondly, I attended a meeting Wednesday night, and I think it was the West End neighborhood meeting, correct? Miss Hackett was there. And if anybody gets a chance to hit up one of these little small meetings, do it. There was so much energy, and it was so fun. And the grandma type people make the refreshments, so you know you're going to get good food, okay? All right, I know, and I left before I ate a piece of pie, but I'm just saying that there are other things out there that are not this. If you want your voice heard, hit these small meetings. And I would like for you guys, if you would, to put out when and where these places are going to be and who's going to be speaking. Because I know the fireman's going to be speaking next month, so I'll be front and center in the front row. All right, I like firemen. But I'm just saying that I did not mean to bring any ill will. And about the ducks and the cats, I'm the crazy cat lady in my town, and I'm not missing any. Everybody's present and accounted for. And if they were coming up out of our park with geese or ducks, I would be one of the first people to see it. I'm telling you, it's not happening. So stop with all that. That's what I want to say. And thank you, Ms. Tackett, because you spoke to me like I had some sense last Wednesday. I've got the courage to stand back up here again today. Thank you. Thank you,
Awesome.
Pete.
Thank you so much. Baron? Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to put this in my pocket so people that know me know I didn't come in here with a prepared speech. I influence my conversation, and I'm the only one that influences my conversation. My grandchildren and my children have a lot to do with it. They're the ones who were begging me 10 minutes before I come down here because they see me leaving the house with my bullhorn. I said, I'm just going to go Baron 2.0, and they're like, don't do it. Enough is enough, guys. We have national attention now over alleged people eating cats. I don't know how to say it without saying it with a word that's Rob's going to throw me out for, but bullcocky. I looked on the menu of 3 or 4 restaurants here today. Man, I didn't see roasted fluffy nowhere on it. It's nuts. But the good thing is now we have the nation's attention. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? Are we going to concentrate on the real issues that we have here? The real issues? There's on the corner right there by Regina Jeffers is a letter that's all written out. All you got to do is fill in the information, send it to the federal government. My question, Mayor, is let's say that works and we get $15 bazillion. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to continue to use it to teach the Haitians our language? To teach them how to drive? We're going to open driving schools, and God knows we need another car wash here. You know, what are we going to do with it? That's my question. That's my serious question to the council tonight. If you get the federal money that you're after, what are you going to do with it? You know, the homeless problem. I don't know of a single homeless Haitian in this town because they all got vouchers. But I can show you a whole bunch of people that have been displaced because I'm that guy. Rob, you know, for 25 years I've worked with the homeless in this community. You know, a lot of people don't know because I'm not the guy out there blowing the horn because it ain't about me. It's the Jesus in me that goes out there and does it. Trust me, there's days I'm tired, but I'll get into homeless camps that nobody in a suit and tie will walk into. None. They trust me because I've never let them down. You know, and guys, if you don't think it's here right now, in October, we are getting ready to hit a wall here. There is not any relief for the homeless. The homeless people in this community are not the people you think they are. The squatters that aren't happening. It's not there. There's veterans. Come see me. I'm not real hard to find. Ask anybody on the street. They'll tell you how to get a hold of me. I'll take you there. And no, they don't want your toothpaste and your peanut butter sandwiches. They want you to come up with a solution to why they're displaced, why they lived in a house. I personally know, and I'll testify under oath, my hand to God, somebody that lost their house. They were there 7 years. The landlord said, hey, I need you to move out, find a temporary place. I'm going to remodel it, and then you can come back.
Thank
It was
you,
a
Baron.
lie. They moved him out, tripled the rent.
Thank you.
Follow
Thank you for
the
speaking.
money.
Marjorie?
I'm standing this evening as a human on the behalf of the Haitian community, and the most important, as a resident of Springfield.
Miss Marjorie, could you move that microphone right in front of you? Thank you. No, right in front of you, please.
In front of you.
Yeah, thank you so
Can you
much.
hear me now?
Go right ahead.
Did I lose my minutes?
Nope.
Okay, that's okay. I wish that I could paint much a better picture to present to you this evening, but unfortunately the reality is a bit different than any of us would expect as citizens of this city. Briefly, I would like to clarify a few points that has been made, focus on many households, as a public and as well as private debate. It's been said that a lot of the Haitians are here, we're calling them illegal immigrants. If you want to rest your mind, they are not illegal. They all have documents. They all were invited to the U.S. and have paper and documentation. But to say that illegal, this word that's going around freely as a cancer, that is not. So put it aside, take it out your mouth, take it out your vocabulary. It's not true.
Miss Marjorie, if you could speak directly to me, thank you so much.
All right, sorry. Yes, Rob. All right, let it be clear that there's a preconceived notion the Haitian here are illegal, which I addressed that. And many of the Haitians that are here have something that's called TPS, is a temporary protected status. They do have here. And many of the Haitians that come here, they come here not, some of them, I would say 98%, they want to go back home. And it's because there is a crisis at home and they're brought here, they work. And the few that are work that come here, they're so motivated. If you go to the south of Springfield, they've opened businesses. In less than 2 years, they have people that have beauty shops, they have grocery stores, they have retail. So nobody's here only to get a free handout. So I really beg the community here, because I've heard a lot of rumors about they're eating cats, they're doing all this. We have the finest cuisine. If you ever tasted Haitian food, to disgrace us, to even say, we don't even eat hot dog and hamburger and stuff like that. We season our food well and we take pleasure in that. So I know there is an abundance. There's a lot of Haitians that are coming. Even me, myself, I'm Haitian, but I'm American, but my heritage is Haitian. And I understand it is overwhelming. But however, with the hate, it's not going to make it better. Even we could criticize their driving.
Miss Marjorie?
Sorry.
That's right.
All right, Bob. We could criticize their driving. It's because we don't know. We've traveled to Europe and they have a different standard for driving as well. So there is nowhere when you enter a country, before they give you a license or you have your license, there's not a class that you take. So all of this that you're feeling that this is what's hindering or this is what's causing the problem because of their driving, we have people. If you see Ferncliff, has been hit several times, that wasn't hit by a Haitian. So there is a lot of traffic accidents. Just to be patient with the people. I'm sorry, I ran out of time.
You got a couple more seconds.
I got close. Well, only thing I want to do is that Springfield, we moved to Springfield after 9/11 because this city was unique. They had so much love and of course differences. I remember moving here, we were the only Black in the neighborhood in Northridge and my children had a challenge. But after time, things started to change. And most people, I get it. It's not easy to get change. And now I see there's a multicultural. It is nothing wrong with change. So to blame the Haitians, a lot of them, there's good and bad in everyone. But everybody who came here to represent the Haitian community, not one of them are on welfare. They have their own money and they want to invest in Springfield.
Thank you for your comments. Melissa Skinner?
Tonight, I want to say the last meeting was a start. I feel like some of these concerns should have been addressed a year ago, but you have to start somewhere. I have noticed that our homeless is a major concern down the end of East Main Street and also Snyder Park. What is going to happen shortly when we do not have something in place for them? I realize some do not want shelter. Cold is coming and this city has to have a plan. Do we have a plan? Next is our juvenile system. You cannot get any help with getting transcripts from cases dismissed, etc., in a timely manner. I would like to know how many we have slapped on the wrist time and time again, and then because they have not been properly rehabilitated, as they say in that system, become adult criminals. When you are sent to the victim's advocate for help after weeks and weeks, you're still waiting on a phone call. I believe when voting comes, we need a new judge. I can tell you years ago when I was in school, and I'm only 52, we did not need resource officers in all of our schools. You got to go to juvenile detention for fighting when you were in school, and the judges at the time didn't care, and the consequences were set in place. We need to do better for our children so they grow up to be productive adults. Next is the police statistics that are being published on the city page. I would like to see a better breakdown if possible, and possibly every 2 weeks hear someone saying what has been done to help make our streets safer. Lastly, I ask this commission on the oath to protect and serve us, the people, to please do so and to please start now. Even if you have to push back to get Springfield safe at a level that all entities can run, not overwhelmed, is what we need. I am sure that they are not going to come lock us all up from higher up. And we need to stand together to bring the city we have all grown up in and have invested in. We can be stronger together, but we need a safe city, and many citizens do not feel safe after being here for many years.
Thank you. Dicey Jones?
Start.
Go right ahead.
Giassi Jones. Who am I? I'm just a black, white, Italian, Indian cat that's from Springfield, Ohio.
If you could address me, sir.
Not
Thank
a
you so
racist
much.
bone in my body, Mr. Rue.
Thank you so much.
With that being said, I'm here on behalf of human beings, okay, of the Springfield, city of Springfield, Ohio. I'm a little nervous. I usually have no fears of public speaking, but today I had a lot of eyeballs that I've had some intriguing conversations with, to say the least. 5 years ago, in the middle of COVID, I took the old Shamrock Bowling Alley. You guys probably heard about the Shamrock Bowling Alley, dilapidated piece of crap that was just falling apart, rotting away. I took that and I turned it into a rec center by myself. No outside funding, no banks, none of that. Just being by myself. Totally all in. We got a nonprofit boxing gym. I've been coming to the city for help for a long time, Brian. You know that. It's another can of worms. We need help. The kids need help. When I asked the city where's the youth initiative on the city agenda for the what's it called? The yearly what's it called?
Annual retrieve
The
the budget.
plan.
Thank
Action
you.
plan that goes to the federal government that requires you to be on the action plan to get federal funding. You have to be on the action plan. We've tried to get on there numerous occasions, failed terribly, miserably. No help for the kids. No youth-based initiatives. We need a new recreation center for the kids of Springfield, Ohio. We need the new boxing gym created. The land bank has so much land that they can dedicate us for we can get a new center built. I'm done on that point. Now we're going to move on to the the influx of the Haitians. You know, the bad part about this whole situation is stop the influx of Springfield page on Facebook. Somebody needs to get it taken care of and get it taken down. It's a bunch of rhetoric that cannot convince smart people that Haitians are bad people, okay? The Haitians that I know, these Haitians right here in this middle row, my people that I've known for 4 years going on, they're beautiful, wonderful people. They're engineers, electrical. They're highly educated people that own businesses. I've never seen a Haitian crackhead. I've never seen a Haitian bum in front of Kroger's on East Main asking me for change. I've never seen a Haitian zombie high on dope, fentanyl, heroin. Never. You won't see it. Why? They don't even smoke cigarettes. Let's get real, people. The people that's on that page complaining and moaning about the Haitians are poor people that are miserable and tired of being poor. They need to get up off their ass and do something. Go to work. If you're tired of sitting in the welfare line and it takes an hour, get off welfare. Okay? If you're tired of being disabled, if you're a disabled body and you get Social Security, I pray you your best. I hope you get healthy and fully recover. You know, stop being stupid. Stop being ignorant, okay? We're Springfield, Ohio. I'm born and raised. I moved away for 15 years. I came back home. I'm talking fast because I know I only got 3 minutes. I'm trying to get a point across. Springfield needs help. We got to start with the kids, damn it. If you don't start with the kids, you're going to end up 10 years from now. It's going to be chaos, total anarchy. Nobody's going to listen to the government. And I got one more thing to say. Brian Heck, how do you make $187,000 and Mike DeWine only makes $168,000? I want that question answered, first and foremost. Okay, we're a small town, barely a city, okay? We got 50 to 60-some-thousand people, okay? How do you make that much money, sir? Cleveland's city manager doesn't make that much.
We'll have answers for you.
I'm out, baby.
Hey, thank you. We'll have answers for you. Mandy Heaton.
Live and let live, people. Live and let live.
Thanks, thank you.
Hey, hold on, one more thing.
No,
I'm a
please,
native. Yo, if you
please,
see me, I'm
please.
not saying, everybody in here is an immigrant.
Okay, thank you.
This country was built on immigrants.
Sir, you can go ahead and leave. Thank you. Only because you own a boxing gym. Go ahead.
Everyone is talking about the death of ducks and cats in this town, but I'd like to talk about the death of one very special person, my mother-in-law, Kathy Heaton. On December 1st, I received a phone call that changed my life forever. She was collecting her trash can from her driveway when a car struck and killed her instantly. A task she had done over 2,000 times, spanning 4 decades in Springfield. That morning, though, a Haitian immigrant was allegedly driving recklessly when he struck and killed her. I say allegedly because to this day, there's been no punishment, not even for the expired tags on the vehicle he was driving. Months before she was killed, I began noticing the reckless driving and complete disregard for our driving laws by some members of the Haitian community. It made me angry. But now my anger has turned to fear for the safety of my family and the citizens of Springfield. I'd been to Haiti 14 years ago. My husband and I went, and it was my first time in a third world country. I sobbed when I saw the poverty living there, and I have great empathy and compassion for them, longing for a safe place to call home. But 14 years later, I'm living in fear in my own city. It's not safe. I am paralyzed with anxiety when I'm getting my children out of the car in any parking lot, walking on any sidewalk, and driving on any road in this town. I'm haunted by the faces I saw when I had to bear the news to my children and husband that she was dead. Their grandmother, the very person who tucked my 7-year-old twins into bed just 6 hours before on her 71st birthday, was never coming back. What everyone has feared is my reality, and it's my grief, and it should be yours as well. It saddens me greatly to think about leaving a place I've made a home, raised my children, became an active member of this community by providing medical care to the underprivileged and underserved, volunteering, serving on boards, and cheering for the success of the city. But just as the Haitians were seeking a safe place to call home, I now have found myself in that same situation, wanting to abandon this city and all my efforts above and search for a safe place to raise my family. We need to change the laws for immigrants wanting to obtain a driver's license in Ohio. Those coming from countries such as Haiti, in which roads are generally unmarked and signs indicating direction of travel seldom exist. Giving these immigrants a driver's license without a proper and extensive driver's education and training is a matter of public safety, and it's a disservice to the immigrants. How can we expect them to come here from a country that doesn't have the same laws and rules and expect them to comply with ours? It is unsafe, unjust, and it needs to change. No one is more motivated than a grieving mother. This is for our children, our loved ones, and the immigrants. My questions are, can you please connect me with lawmakers who can assist me in pursuing this matter of public safety? And what is being done about driver's educations for the immigrants in Springfield?
Thank you. Chris Heaton.
Good evening. As you may recognize, the previous speaker, Mandy Heaton, I am her husband. The woman she spoke of, Kathy Heaton, was my mother. I will be honest in telling you that I do not have the strength to speak about the tragedy endured by the senseless killing of my mother, and I am not here for sympathy. There is nothing that will offset the heartbreak of knowing my mother died after tucking my children into bed, us singing her happy birthday that evening, or the sight of her walking out of my house unaware that would be the last time we would speak. What I am here for is solution. We are blessed every day to live in a country of freedom and opportunity, a land that welcomes, a land that is for the people and by the people. However, the influx of the immigrants who have made our city, state, and country home have been given a lose-lose situation. They have not been acclimated to the laws, the rights, the responsibilities associated with being an American citizen, an Ohioan, or a resident of Springfield, especially when it comes to the rules and regulations of operating a motor vehicle. While I appreciate the efforts that the Ohio State Patrol and the governor has announced today, we have seen countless incidents in our area of vehicle crashes involving, unfortunately, people of Haitian descent. We've heard of incidents of alleged cheating happening in the BMV offices. We've learned that about the lack of driving rules and regulations within the country of Haiti. Every one of these factors makes the integration of the Haitian people into our community unfair to them and unfair to us. But what we have not heard about is how to fix it. I am here tonight to speak on what we intend to gain support of, known as Kathy's Law. This law will be applied to all, regardless of background, Russian, Swedish, Haitian, doesn't matter, to establish regulations for any immigrant wanting to obtain their driver's license in our state, and hopefully other states take notice and apply it nationwide. We will push to enforce the same restrictions that my 7-year-old twins who lost their grandmother that night will have to follow when they seek to obtain a license, just like anyone else, regardless of age in this state. This includes required driver's ed classes, driving with other licensed drivers, and a computer-based translated test for them to take. This issue is not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is an American issue. This is an Ohio issue, and this is a Springfield issue. We, the people, have the ability to change the rules and regulations we have to follow. We, the people, have the ability to ensure our streets are safe. We, the people, have the power to make our voices heard and action to be done. And we, the people, can ensure everyone in this country is treated fairly. So what I ask for you all tonight is give us a voice. Let democracy work. Do what is best for all people. Support our cause to ensure driving regulations are equally enforced, because we will not rest until justice is served for Kathy.
Thank you. Darlene Yealy. Darlene Yealy.
Okay, is that good? Okay, I have to say I really admire Judge Carey. That was fascinating and such an advancement for our town. And along with some of the speakers tonight, I'm going to go with my subject, which when tragedies are caused by young people, everyone says, how did this happen? Why didn't somebody do anything? I think the best solution is to help the child before life experiences and environments warp them or him or her into becoming the monster that would go into schools and churches to murder innocent people or shoot at presidents. I know Springfield is trying to deal with a surge of Haitians into our community. But Matthew 23:23 says, these ought to have done and not to leave the other undone. The influx has to be dealt with, but we can't neglect the need to support our youth today so they will have the tools to handle tomorrow. In response to Councilwoman Crystal Brown, I appreciate her input. I looked up the Dome. It's a wonderful program, but it's a college and career readiness hub. I'm talking about help for the kids struggling to survive, the ones that are looking affordable outlets for their frustration, their fear, their abuse, their hopelessness, and hormonal explosions. Kids 13 to 18 that need a place to sleep and a clean bed in emergency situations, a place to shower with toiletries, a washer and dryer for their clothes, a place where they don't have to worry about being bullied or belittled or abused, counseling support, self-improvement, self-confidence classes, information, advice, a place for fun and exercise, all under the same roof for the hours that they were needed. I use the United Senior Services as a model. It's a drop-in building that offers 30 programs and services to fill the needs of 55 years and older for $15 a year. 13 to 18-year-olds need these things geared to their needs and desires. If we can do this as a community for our seniors, why can't we provide this for our youth? What we're offering at the present time is not working. I think we need a round table with a policeman, a school nurse, a teacher, a parent, 3 students, juvenile judge to brainstorm to get the needs of our youth met, their mental, physical, and psychological needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Felix.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. I speak on behalf of the Haitian community I have so many of them here. Briefly, I would like to clarify a few points that have been the main focus of many households as well as public debates for the past few months. Among all the local ethnic groups, the Haitian community has been the center of attention, not because Haiti is known to be the first free black republic, nor its good cuisine or wonderful ocean, but simply because some people choose to express their opinions towards the Haitian community in a despiteful, hateful, and vicious manner without taking the time to understand us as one of the most resilient people who have been through very difficult moments in our lifetime, yet still standing strong and look at the world in the eyes with dignity and pride. Let's be clear, there is a preconceived notion that all the Haitians here in Springfield are illegal immigrants, which is false. Some of us are Haitian American citizens who can vote. We are green card holders, and some of us are here via federal program that allows us to have a social security card, employment authorization that allows us to temporarily stay in the country. This program is better known as TPS, just like the Ukraine, the Cuban, Venezuelan, and Nicaraguan. We clearly understand that there is a huge misunderstanding about legal and illegal immigrants. When a Haitian citizen comes to USA by the way of program, does it mean that the person is illegal? Same thing for all other ethnic groups mentioned above. Some say that Haitians come here to steal jobs and public assistance from other communities, which is false. We are here as some hardworking person. Despite the bad weathers, cold temperatures that we are not used to, and snowy days, we still get up early in the morning and get to work. We courageously do the dirty jobs that most typical Americans would not do and never think about quitting because it's our duty to contribute in the city's financial growth with our tax dollars. Some say to stop the Haitian influx because you're responsible for the rising cost of housing. I don't know how true is that. We are here as homeowners and businessmen and women and investors.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
Thank you
so
and
much.
I'll be back. Thank
Brad
you so
Solis?
much.
Brad Solis. Colin Barclay.
Good evening. My name is Colin Barclay. I want to start out by thanking the Commission for allowing me to speak here. I also want to say thank you to the Commission for your tireless effort in coming up with solutions and for your work with our state officials to come up with solutions just announced today. And I hope you feel that you are truly appreciated. I do ask an important favor here that our Commission and our citizens remember and hold true to verifiable facts when making comments before the city and its commission and on public forums / social media in general. 8 years ago, I completely bought into this notion of fake news, the idea of holding media conglomerates and people to higher standard of fact-based, unbiased news. Who wouldn't want to buy into that? Since that time, I have observed that some of the notion's biggest proponents have had no issues with creating and spreading false information, the very thing that so many were and are still against to this day. This public forum and some of the public comments have become the proverbial drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. The continued false information has hurt this community, its community members, our newest neighbors. Fake news has tarnished the reputations of some of our community leaders. Fake news has enabled the Nazi sympathizer group to march on our streets. Fake news has allowed the leader of said group to come into this very meeting and feel comfortable enough to speak. Fake news has made members of this community feel comfortable enough sending threats to personal friends of mine, like a Carl Ruby, for example, all because he asked you to be nice to your neighbors, to be welcoming to a new community member. But fake news has told people differently, and now he's receiving threats. And I want to make clear, I do not speak for Carl. I'm just reporting on what I've observed. Finally, fake news has put Springfield in the national spotlight, as some have already said, on a bullcrap story. I've always been told that you can be part of the solution or part of the problem. Fake news, I can promise you, on Facebook or what you hear from your uncle's cousin's sister's second cousin removed, is not a solution. My wife texted me during all of this, and there's some comments going on currently on Facebook that are absolutely abhorrent. And while I speak to the commission, I hope that those commenters hear this. Come with verifiable facts and make sure that when you spread news, you're speaking accurately on it and showing love to everyone in this community.
Thank you. D. Lewis?
So I wasn't going to speak, but the parents of the little boy that died, they broke me down. They said, stop the hate, and that's what we need to do. This city's going backwards, not forward. My mother's an immigrant. I love the diversity. We got to learn. They're not going nowhere. I mean, when have you ever told immigrants to get away, leave? It's not going to happen. So we've got to move forward and stop the negativity. The commissioners are trying, and you got to let them do what they do. But the JD, whatever, Vance, reminded me of COVID and the Asians. They started the rumors on the Asians. They beat them down because of the rumors. You got to stop. It's ugly. And is everybody registered to vote? Because if not, come and see me. I have absentee ballots. Make sure your registration is still valid, because some of them are coming up invalid. So you need to check your registration.
Thank you. Okay, staff members, that ends our comments. We're going to answer some questions that we can. I know you've been taking notes, so go right ahead.
Yes. Let me get back up to the top of my list of all the questions.
So we're going to do our best to answer. There's a lot of questions. I wrote a lot of notes on the back of the card, so we'll do our best to get as many answers as we can. If not, we'll be following up with you. And I'm sure some of the commissioners will have some answers as well.
So one of the questions was related to what policies and programs have been implemented. And I'll ask Jason Vi, our Deputy Director of Public Safety and Operations, will speak to that. But again, a lot of it's about facilitating programming in our community to help support.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. From a policy standpoint, city policies have not been impacted too much by this topic, other than the use of language services, but that is a contract we already had before this. So as regards to program facilitating programs, we continue to work with all our stakeholders in the community to help collaborate and coordinate, make sure we help provide services in the most efficient way possible. That programming is all generally done by those other stakeholders. They're not programs that the city would be involved with, like, for example, driver's education training, language services, and the like.
I wanted to add real quick. So again, So we're trying to answer the questions that I should have started with this. Questions that we have from the last meeting that we could not answer directly at the meeting, that we needed to collect additional information and research. Those are available on our website at springfieldohio.gov. So if you want to check those out, the one specific was related to code enforcement, adjudication orders, and so forth. And so that information from the last meeting. People continue to work the QR codes that are out on the doors posted. So for individuals that are not able to make it into the meeting in time and submit a comment card, those do come directly to staff email, and we will follow up with you outside the meeting. I've seen probably 12 come through, so I appreciate everybody using the QR code. Again, we want to get information out, and we want to be able to answer your questions. So I appreciate those that are using that. So I should have said that up front before we jumped right into questions.
Let's stop there because Mr. Sanders put a card up. He was told he could speak if he got in here on time. So go ahead and speak real quick before we continue. Okay? Just a reminder, though, we're stopping at 7:15 or 15 after roll call. Go ahead, Mr. Sanders.
So I missed Mark Sanders, Springfield, Ohio. So I missed the announcement today by DeWine. I'm glad. It's overdue. I do want to say, my bus route takes me, if you took the gunshot map that was presented a couple meetings ago and overlaid it to my bus route, that's the route I take twice a day. So it's Pleasant, Selma, Clifton, Leffels, and there's not a day go by that not one of the dozen bus drivers that service CTC and STEM aren't making evasive maneuvers, avoiding people that can't drive. And this is, no matter, it's everybody. It's not a specific color, it's not a specific birthplace of origin, it's everywhere. So you've got kids out there that are walking to school, crossing the street. You got people that are passing buses on the right. They're blowing the red lights on the bus, running stop signs. I almost had a pedestrian strike on South Lime at the Speedway. I was coming down John Street, making a right on South Lime to go to STEM. Four or five individuals went to step off the curb right in front of my bus. 20-some thousand pound torpedo full of kids, and they think they're going to win. So it's bad. My concern is the money that you're going to get, you called it the surge. When you guys do like a sobriety checkpoint, you put it where the bars are. I hope that you're going to put these people in the same position or same places that we have the highest amount of act, that you're using that demographic to place them. And I hope every traffic judge and magistrate is watching this right now, because you guys are failing this city. So people are getting cited, they're getting called into court, and because of translation issues, they're dismissing their cases. And the people that they think it's a free ride. So I'm challenging the mayor, everybody up there tonight. About a year ago, this very day, I spoke about towing cars being driven by non-licensed drivers. And I think Jill and I had a little spirited debate. And it actually come to culmination that it was discretionary. You guys can end the discretion tonight. You can create an emergency ordinance because your charter allows that. You can say any vehicle driven by an unlicensed driver gets towed. There isn't a single tow company in this city that won't accept the business. If they got to rent space, they'll rent space. Because if our courts aren't going to penalize and punish monetarily the people that are breaking the law, you can by a tow bill. You can fix it tonight. I challenge you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, please. Actually, Mark, we cannot do that tonight because we only have 3 commissioners, just so you know. Emergency ordinance takes a supermajority, which is at least 4. So we'll continue on with answering some of the questions. Thank you. Glad you could.
Yeah, so one of the questions was, who have we advocated to and what benefit will that provide to our community? And I'm sure the commissioners will speak who they've talked to. I know we have talked to numerous state and federal officials, from cabinet level positions to our actual state representatives and governor. As you heard, the governor did a press conference today on the surge. And I can add just to Mark's question, it is a data-driven enforcement. So they will be looking at, as well with us and Clark County Sheriff, it will be data driven. So it'll be looked at those areas that are high accident, high crash issues, intersections from red light cameras or red light running, and then also school zones. So it's a data-driven approach from the state all the way down for that. And then at the federal level, Congressman Turner has continued to come in and meet specifically with our schools and healthcare, and is helping us in drafting some financial requests that will specifically, so what will the benefit provide to our community? One of the biggest challenges, again, and I know Mayor Rob Rue mentioned it in his opening comments, was related to our overwhelmed healthcare system as well as our schools and the resources needed for our schools. And so Congressman Turner's staff is working directly with us to craft some requests that will help alleviate on the healthcare side as well as on our school resources. Senator Sherrod Brown has worked with us. I know Cam, his local rep, has met with several individuals and has provided a couple different resources on housing specifically to look into and how to address some of the housing challenges and issues that face our community. And then Senator Vance as well, I know, has met and talked with different commissioners, his staff, and so forth, as it relates to the issues that we're facing as a community. So again, we've advocated to all of our state and federal officials and representatives, had various meetings, several meetings, multiple meetings with all of them, and also with their, specifically at the state level, a lot of their cabinet level positions.
Particular to the funding question, we're not foreseeing that the federal government's going to write us a large check we're not looking for bailout money. Honestly, we're looking for translation services help. I believe our school system has received not only federal funds at around 380-some thousand, but through the state about 10 million that they need. If you look at our issues and concerns about with the amount of folks here, you could see it as a three-piece pie. So you got school system, healthcare, and safety forces. And so we still need assistance in our healthcare and our safety forces. And we're looking to help to bridge that communication gap. So any funding that would come in that we're specifically asking for is translation services. Again, I don't see any major checks being written from the federal government or even the state government, but I do appreciate Governor DeWine and the safety director to help us go after the traffic concerns.
There was a question about when will houses be available and affordable. So obviously we have more housing development and housing projects going on throughout our community than we've had at any other point in our history. And so a lot of those houses will come online throughout the coming years. I mean, Melody Parks, as an example, is a 5 to 7 year build out for that project. We see projects like local developer Clay Chester, who's building apartment units throughout the community on former school sites and so forth. We have an affordable housing project that's being built over on the former Clark Middle School site right now. That's a 40-unit development that should come online, I would guess, by the end of the year, first part of next year. We know we need housing in our community. We need housing across the spectrum. We need owner-occupied units. We need rental units. We need affordable. We need market rate. Our housing stock is so out of balance right now. Inflationary pressures face everybody across the country, but specifically here, our supply and demand is so out of balance that lack of supply with high demand drives up cost. We're seeing that in our community, and those are the things that we're trying to address by adding as many units as possible into our community. We did not have until Bridgewater constructed starting 2018, 2019. That was the first single family residential development of any scale in our community since the late 1980s. Glencoe and Kingsgate were the last two that broke ground, and that was in the late 1980s. We went about 30 years without any true housing investment. And so we're seeing that now. We're trying to play catch up, but we can't play catch up quick enough on that supply demand that's out of whack. Adults attending high school with other regular students. I was able to really quick research and work with Bob Hill, our superintendent at the school. So thank you, Bob. The law requires them that they have to educate students up to the age of 22. Now, any student 18 or older that is credit deficient, they do try to push towards GED or their Aspire program regardless of their race. he states the law is problematic and that we do our best to counsel prospective students to the appropriate path, which in this case of that age above 18 is often not the school building itself. I was going to have Chief Elliott make a statement about there was a comment about why is it taking so long to respond to 911 calls. So if Chief Elliott would like to speak to that.
Good evening, Mayor Rue. Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. So just to clarify a few things, I think it will help understand the prioritization of our calls. I'm not going to stand up here and harp on the fact that staffing is a nationwide issue. I know we're tired of hearing excuses. We're doing everything we can to recruit. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to recruit as well, if the city manager would be okay with me speaking about that. We have been hiring and we are going through a current hiring process. We're processing over 20 applicants now. I will tell you that we are going through those civil service lists fairly frequently. So we're holding more tests more often. So with that being said, when there is an opportunity for the next test to come up, I ask you and everyone in this community to assist us with recruiting opportunities and recruit the people that you want serving you. Please help us and get out there and recruit the officers that you want to see serving your community, who are passionate about our community and committed to serving you and our community. As far as the prioritization of calls goes, when our dispatchers do receive calls, there is a hierarchy and a prioritization. So it's not to say that your call is not a big deal to us. That is, sometimes misunderstood. But when there is a priority call or a dangerous situation, the dispatcher will move that call up to a higher priority and have to send multiple officers to that call, then creating additional lag in response time for other calls. I will say, if you do have a situation and you need to report it, I'm going to give you a couple phone numbers and some additional avenues to call and report to us if you do need to make a police report. A number you can call is our information officer. It's 937-324-7685. The non-emergency dispatch number is 937-324-7680. And I do ask that you please try to utilize that. And one thing that I also would ask of you as our community to help us and to partner with us is, if you have a situation where you haven't heard back from us, or if there's a situation where you need to follow up and maybe we haven't gotten back in contact with you, please call us. Sometimes there are things that come up and there are prioritization of calls that do come up. So please don't hesitate to call us back and reach out to us. I know there's a lot of questions about that. We want to be transparent with you and we want to get these questions answered. And we understand that, call times can be challenging, and it's not an excuse, but staffing does come into play to that. We're doing everything we can to continue to recruit, but I urge you to please assist us and help us out with that. There's wonderful people in this community who care, and they're trying hard, and I see the officers every single day and the work they're putting in, the hours that they're putting in. You see the officers that are here tonight. They've also worked very long shifts. They are committed to serving you, and they're committed to serving you to the best of their ability. And as your police chief, that's my job to make sure I'm transparent with you and I'm accountable to you. And I hear your concerns. They do not fall on deaf ears. We will continue to do everything we can to be committed and do better and be better, because there's always opportunities and room for improvement. So I appreciate that. As far as sorry, Mr. Heck, if there's anything else that you wanted to make sure that I addressed before.
No, I guess if you want to add anything, I'll make a statement, because the next question is related to gun violence in our community and what's happening there, as well as drug overdoses. So you heard about the drug court tonight and trying to get at the root cause of a lot of the drug issues in our community, and addressing the variety of factors that impact and lead to potentially drug overdoses. And then on gun violence, several weeks ago, we had Caleb Perkins here, and he gave a presentation as the gun violence prevention coordinator as we work as a collaborative effort, including the police chief and judges and so forth, to address gun violence, specifically youth gun violence in our community. And so a lot of efforts are going in and working in our community through a collaborative approach, because it's not going to be able to be fixed by doing it in a vacuum alone. We need to work with a variety of community partners, and that's what's happened here. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Absolutely. So we've had several meetings here recently. Specifically, we have officers who are on different initiatives and different we have different federal partnerships. So for example, met with in Dayton recently for the SOFAS, which is the Southern Ohio Fugitive Apprehension Strike Team. It's a team that's made up of task force officers and the United States Marshal Service. We partner with them. We have an officer who works with them. It's an effort in locating individuals who are fleeing from their violent criminal charges. We had meetings here recently with several folks in Dayton, and they have continued to offer their additional services. We will continue to partner with our federal agencies for all of that assistance because, as you know, together we're always better. And if we're dealing with different staffing issues, we're going to make sure that we enhance those collaborative partnerships. In addition to that, I know the city manager and Mayor Roos spoke about the initiative with the Department of Public Safety. I'm grateful for Director Wilson and Governor DeWine, and they're offering their assistance with us as far as the Ohio State Highway Patrol. So they will be able to help address many of these traffic issues and challenges that all of you have raised to us, and we appreciate their assistance in that.
Thank you. And then there was a question specific on insurance rates, and I just want to speak to, so we have seen car insurance rates have increased across most of the U.S. just in the last couple of years, but Ohio has seen the second steepest rise in that. And so some factors that are laid out why in Ohio specifically have we seen this. Car repairs have gotten more expensive. Certainly, if you've taken your car to a shop, those car costs, those repairs have increased significantly from labor to parts, et cetera. And of course, having accidents and more accidents leads to more and more car repairs, which continues just to drive that up. The price of cars in general has skyrocketed. So to cover the price of those vehicles, we've all seen during COVID, if you tried to buy a used car, the price of used cars throughout the Ohio and the country increased significantly. And then one of the other major factors that's playing in specifically in Ohio is motor vehicle thefts. Because motor vehicle thefts in Ohio have increased significantly. Ohio actually ranks 7th in the country for motor vehicle thefts, and certainly covering the full cost of that theft of a vehicle adds to an increase in those rates. So yes, we are seeing significant increases in insurance rates. A lot of it goes to the cost of repairs and so forth, but also you're sending your car for repairs when they're involved in an accident and so forth. And so certainly accidents lead to those higher rates as well, and has increased that in Ohio specifically. And then there was a talk about a homelessness plan. I'll just state that I've directed our community development director, Logan Cobbs, to work with community partners and providers specifically to work to develop that strategy. Since the plan of the executive and so forth that was on the table was not approved, and so working with our community partners and our service providers to develop a strategy of how to address the concerns that we talk about with the pending upcoming winter. And so again, working with our community development director and those direct service providers will be key in working towards a solution to address the homelessness situation. I know we talked a little bit about the driver's education program, but I want to have Jason just speak a little bit again just to the 3 classes, the number of participants, the simulators and so forth, and how we're trying to advocate to get additional support and assistance in those driver's education classes and get more people into them.
Sure. As far as the attendance on those classes, the numbers have increased with every course we've offered. The first 2 were over the winter, so they weren't too well attended, the 20, 25 people each time, and then there were 50 in the spring course that we offered. That is completely free. It's completely open to anybody in the community who wants to attend or feels like maybe they can, use some more education on the driving. We also have simulators available, again, to everybody for use. And we're going to be coordinating with Clark State, hopefully here in the near future, to offer a more regular line of course.
Thank you. One of the questions is, what if the letter works? So the letter that we've asked you to send to our state, Mayor Rue mentioned about language services and translation services and so forth. The hospital alone, Mercy Health, is going to spend $1.2 million in 2024 in translation services. Those are dollars that are not reimbursable to them as the hospital. Those are dollars that are being expended that are not able to go to direct services. The Rocking Horse, which is our federally qualified health center, they're going to spend over $500,000 in 24 in translation services. And those are, again, costs that are not reimbursable to them. Those are dollars that cannot go into the actual health service itself. So working with them on language translation to be able to offset some of those costs. The driver's education, like Jason talked about, is working with the state to continue to offer opportunities for classes. Women's health services, that is a key area too that Mercy Health and Rocking Horse are working towards to improve and strengthen the women's health services that exist in our community for everyone. And so trying to receive assistance at the federal level and the state level. Governor DeWine mentioned today specifically about money coming to help with that healthcare system and access to primary care, which we all know is the entry point for all of our medical needs. And so we're seeing some benefit from those meetings and letters already by our state and federal officials providing us assistance and providing dollars to help assist our community with those challenges that we do face when we see an increase in our population. And so helping with our infrastructure on the healthcare, our school resources, and first responders and so forth. Police statistics, so that was mentioned tonight. Unfortunately, I'll say one of the challenges is we use the OLEG, the Ohio Reporting System, and it's not, it works, it's adequate, but it's not the most robust system in terms of reporting. And so what the data that we're trying to provide right now just illustrates the top 10 calls for service in that respective month, the calls for service in that respective month as it compares to those different calls for services, and then also the total calls for the entire year. We are working with the county right now with the combined dispatch system. There's opportunities for the Influx system, which will offer a more robust reporting system, and that more robust reporting system allows us then to pull out better data as well. We use the NIBRS, which is National Incident Based Reporting System. I hope I got that right, Chief. And so we want to make sure that the data is clear and understandable. And so right now what you see is just the top 10 cases or the top 10 calls for service during that month and time. And then we're hoping, as we work with the county, to have that more robust access to that reporting system through Spillman Flex, that we're able to provide even more detail. We want to provide information and as much information and data as possible. Youth-based initiative. So just comment on that's something. So the specific question or the comment was the action plan as it related to community development block grant funding. That is something we're continually looking at, our action plan and how we can procure. We're actually, last meeting, our commission procured a contract with Grow America. Grow America has experience and expertise in how to best utilize your CDBG dollars in your community under the guidance and the guidelines set forth and required by HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Department. And so we're hoping that we can continue to create a more robust program to best utilize those CDBG dollars in our community. Then it was talked specifically about my salary. I'd be happy to provide a comparison to you of city managers. We're the 12th largest city in Ohio, so I can provide you a list that I'm pretty much in the average of what city managers make, especially cities our size. And specifically, Cleveland was mentioned. Cleveland does not have a city manager. They are a strong mayor form of government, so they don't actually have a city manager. So again, I can provide that list and make it available on the website. No problem doing that. What's interesting, I did quick research, and actually the lieutenant governor makes more than the governor in the state of Ohio, which is interesting. So, and then I think the last one, there was a question about in the court and cases being dismissed as it related to translation services. And so I was going to ask Jill Allen if she wants to speak to the translation services in the court and the connection there with dismissed cases.
Mark, I can say that I'm not familiar with any case having been dismissed for interpretation. We have, I believe, up to 5 interpreters now at municipal court, and probably more would be needed too. So since those interpretation services came online, cases are being, as far as resolved, I would say, not dismissed. And the other comment, I think it was Aurora, you made a comment earlier just about resolution. That was a 2014 resolution. If you recall that resolution is temporary in nature, so it expresses a policy. Do you remember your comment about a resolution from 2014? So that was temporary in nature. A resolution by its nature is temporary. So that means it expresses the policy decision of a certain governing body. Unlike an ordinance, which is a law that is it's a long-term decision to make an ordinance. It's a law. Right. It's temporary in nature. So it's not probably you could even say as soon as you get a new governing body, it's not permanent. Resolutions are very temporary by their nature, unlike a law that is written into effect. Yep, I have your contact information from your card, so I'll reach out to you too and explain that further. Yep.
And then just a reminder, utilize the QR code. Again, I have several that have come in already tonight, which is great. And we will provide answers to those questions as you come in. And again, I want to emphasize, you don't have to wait till 2 weeks from now for the next commission meeting. If you have questions, please reach out to me, reach out to staff. We want to be able to inform you. We want to be able to provide information to your questions. So thank you.
Commission comments?
Yes. I have several. I wanted to also mention about the homeless situation that the local stakeholders have come back together and are reconvening to go through a plan again, and update a plan that was presented back in February. So the providers have come back together, and I spoke to Brian about that earlier as well to keep him updated on what I had known as we passed the torch on to Logan. And I wanted to mention to Jason, maybe it would be possible if we created some type of list of services to share out. I know there was just recently, people were asking, where do I go for the driving classes? So much is just communication, right? And they're looking for us to guide that. So even if it's on our social media, just sharing that out so everyone knows we are doing this and this is where the resources are. Same with language, what we have, right?
Absolutely, that information is available and we can link to it on our site.
Perfect. Registering to vote, yep. The round table for the youth initiative that yes, let's go. We got Jossie right here. I'm in. Okay. And then Kathy's law, I'm also in and helping you. Just get a hold of me, okay? And then I'm meeting tomorrow with Caleb. We talked about the gun violence. I actually meet him tomorrow. If there's anything that you want asked of him that I can get to him at 10 a.m. tomorrow, you can email me. It's ttackett@springfieldohio.gov. I'd be happy to pass that along. Mark, totally makes sense on placement. I think it should be a given on where we put those at. And, I remember being in a conversation recently as we were talking about youth. because that's still going on, right? The gun violence is, even though we're juggling so many things, that is still very important in this community. And it is a priority for our police department as well. I wanted to say, like, sometimes, like, information, again, communication, just because you're here and you hear it one time, it has to keep going. I mean, I have a marketing background. We have to keep sharing it over and over again because the right people may not be here to listen to it, right? So when we talk about the youth, I mentioned to Jill, like, we actually have a curfew in place. And it was like in the 90s that it was announced. And I guarantee you, nobody would know that now, right? Because we were kids then. So even just if News and Sun could pick that up and just kind of put that back out there. Also, just little reminders about, hey, stop at the bus, like, just suggestions. Communication just seems to be broken down often, and we can improve that. There's always room for growth. I also want to say happy birthday to Chief Allison Elliott, who is here with us tonight, celebrating her birthday. You knew I was going to get you. And then the last thing I want to say is, now that we're thrown into a national presidential campaign, I highly recommend, and maybe it's the city that can help with this, but research and share resources and information on media literacy to help find accurate information and share verified facts by our local experts in our community to cut down on misinformation. There are resources out there, and I hope that maybe we can pick some of that up. Karen's really good at communication. Maybe that's something that also we can put out there and educate the public on. Thank you.
Yeah, I have several as well. The first or second comment tonight was regarding the ordinance passed in 2014 about Welcome America. I will just state again, and I just double checked. If you go to Welcoming America's website and you type in Ohio, the only cities that are part of the Welcoming America program are Columbus, Akron, Dayton, Toledo, Cuyahoga County, and Lucas County. Springfield and Clark County are not on here. So I just wanted to clarify that again. And would there be any effect if we rescinded that ordinance?
No, it's what I was trying to explain. It's temporary in nature, so that
Or
means
that resolution, I'm sorry.
the resolution means it's temporary. So that means the moment it's expressed, it's just an opinion. It's something of support. There is no need to have a sunset provision because it's not lasting.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question or the next comment I wanted to address, someone asked about Brian's salary. And I saw the same article in the News Sun, and I was a little surprised, but I did a little bit of digging on it. And I just pulled some quick data from neighboring communities that have the same form of government as we do, a council manager form of government. And just to give you an example, like I'll take Kettering. It's smaller. Kettering is smaller than us population-wise, especially now. Their city manager makes $236,000 a year. Their police chief makes $153,000 a year. And they have 197 people that make over $100,000. So, and then I'd also like to add that Brian oversees almost 600 people in his day-to-day job, and his job doesn't end from 8 to 5. If there's something that happens, just like Chief Elliott, he's working long hours, sometimes overnight, all the time on the weekends. So I did want to bring that point up as well.
I just want to appreciate everybody coming and taking time to be here, and also those that spoke truth and are passionate for the community, which were many of you. And just know that the commission does care about the community and working hard to make sure that these concerns are heard and are addressed. So I appreciate you being here. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and then we're going to go into our business meeting. Thank you so much. We'll just take a 2 or 3 minute break.
Real quick, could we approve the minutes from last meeting?
sorry.
We still need to do
Is there a
that.
motion to approve minutes from last meeting?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. Okay, go ahead and proceed with first readings.
Providing for supplemental appropriations with various funds. Confirming purchases and obtaining of services for the city and providing for payments therefor. Providing for the issuance and sale of notes in the maximum principal amount of $6 million in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost for improving the municipal fire safety facilities by constructing, furnishing, and equipping a new fire station and otherwise improving the site therefore, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto. Amending ordinance number 9190 passed March 12, 1991, and commonly known as the codified ordinances of the city of Springfield, Ohio, by amending certain provisions of section 185.09 entitled Unused Vacation. Authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement by and between the city of Springfield, Ohio, and the Board of Clark County Commissioners in connection with the West Home Road and St. Paris Pike paving project. Confirming and approving acceptance of an easement and dedicating those certain rights in real estate for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, operating, and maintaining stormwater management facilities. Confirming and approving change order number 1 to the contract between the city and Bricks Incorporated for the installation and maintenance of a fire station alerting system to increase the contract in an amount not to exceed $15,000 for a total amount not to exceed $438,820 for the initial 5-year term, and authorizing the city manager to execute said change order number 1. Authorizing the city manager to enter into a development incentive agreement, non-residential development with Christian Brothers Meat Company, LLC, to provide for water and sewer services to real property outside the city limits. Approving updated roadway names in the Melody Parks subdivision. Providing for the appointment of Sarah A. Gillis to the position of Deputy City Clerk. And one item added to the agenda.
Thank you.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment with the Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated for trash pickup at various city facilities to exercise the option to renew, to modify the service locations I'm sorry. Let me start over.
Please.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment with Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated for trash pickup at various city facilities to exercise the option to renew and to modify the service locations for an amount not to exceed $35,000 and declaring an emergency therein.
Yes, so
that
real quick,
was
that
not
resolution, because it's a resolution, will be voted on tonight for that trash pickup service. So we can either go ahead and take that vote and then come back to first reading since she's read the item, or we can come back and read
It's
it
actually,
again.
that
It's an
was actually a
emergency.
first reading.
Yeah.
It's a resolution though. So,
Rumpke?
yeah.
Do we need to adjust the agenda?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay, that's the tax rate one.
Okay, folks.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, can you explain anything in the first readings? Maybe give us some more details before we ask for commission questions or comments?
Yes, I want to speak specifically to the providing for the issuance and sale of notes. I'll ask Katie to speak to the actual note issuance, but so in the maximum principal amount of $6 million for a fire station, this is for the third fire station that we will construct over on North Thompson Avenue on the west end of our community. This will replace current Station 5. And so we are out to bid right now for that station and award that contract by the end of the year. What's unique about this station is it will also be home to Box 27. So Box 27 is a nonprofit organization that assists and helps in filling air tanks and providing meals and drinks and so forth when we're responding to calls for service, specifically fires. And so just a very beneficial. They don't really have a true home right now, and this will give them a dedicated bay at this station. So that's exciting about this station and trying to utilize and maximize it to the most efficient and effective means. Katie, if you want to speak real quick to the note.
Yes, Commissioner. So the note that we are issuing is for $6 million, for a total of $7.5 million is the estimate currently for that fire station. We will be putting that out to bid here within the next month or two. That $6 million, we will come back and roll that into a bond in the first quarter of 2025. We are predicting that the interest rate for this $6 million will be 5% with a payment of $175,000 next year. For the fire station, we are debt financing $6 million. $1.5 million will be the American Rescue Plan Act dollars allocated to the city.
Thank you. And then I'd also just like to call attention to the intergovernmental agreement. So this speaks to the partnership between the city and the county, specifically the county engineer's office. So when a road is paved that's in the county but has sections of it in the city and vice versa, when there's roadways within the city that where sections fall in the county, we do try to help each other in those costs in the city areas versus just county areas and vice versa. And so this specifically impacted West Home Road. So the county paved West Home Road and portions of West Home Road are within the city. And so we will reimburse the county for that work. And we paved under a city contract St. Paris Pike. And so parts of that fall within the county. And so again, the county offsetting those costs that we incur together. So just that partnership and working together to make sure that we're continuing to work to pave roadways throughout our community.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners from the audience? Okay, clerk, would you go ahead and proceed with second reading resolution?
Rescinding and replacing Resolution 6145, approving a petition for the creation of the Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District and for special assessments for special energy improvement projects and a Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District Program Plan, and Resolution 6146, approving the necessity of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements in the city.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Or comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Approving a petition for special assessments for energy improvement projects and a Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District supplemental plan, supplement to plan for 2018 and 2020 East Main Street, Springfield, Ohio project, and declaring the necessity of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements in the city.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Vacating the first alley northeast of Johnny Lytle Avenue from Montgomery Avenue, also known as Rebert Pike, west to the intersecting north-south alley.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Determining to proceed with the acquisition, construction, and improvement of certain public improvements at 404 East McCray Avenue in the city of Springfield, Ohio, in cooperation with the Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Levying special assessments for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements at 404 East McCray Avenue in the city of Springfield in cooperation with the Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
determining to proceed with the acquisition, construction, and improvement of certain public improvements at 2018 and 2020 East Main Street in the city of Springfield, Ohio, in cooperation with the Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Levying special assessments for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements at 2018 and 2020 East Main Street in the city of Springfield in cooperation with the Springfield Regional Energy Special Improvement District.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Tony Smith, doing business as Tony Smith Wrecking and Trucking, for the demolition of up to 37 specific parcels for an amount not to exceed $351,700.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Lorenzo Anderson, doing business as All Things Truck Hauling and Dumpsters LLC, for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for a period of 1 year with an option to renew for one additional 1 year period for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Gary Gilbert Jr., doing business as Gilbert's Lawn Service, for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for a period of 1 year with an option to renew for one additional 1 year period for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with OMAC Hauling Incorporated for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for a period of 1 year with an option to renew for one additional 1 year period for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Samuel E. Whitaker Sr., doing business as Whitaker Hauling, for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for a period of 1 year with an option to renew for one additional 1 year period for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Alexander Chemical Corporation for the purchase of liquid chlorine for use by the city's water treatment plant for an amount not to exceed $114,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated for the city's 2024 collection of bagged leaves program for an amount not to exceed $77,873.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. You want to repeat those dates for us?
Yes, Commission, the bag leaf pickup dates are November 23rd and December 14th. So please have your bags placed out at the curb the night before to make sure that everything's picked up.
Thank you. From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Accepting the amounts and rates allocated to the city of Springfield, Ohio, is determined by the Budget Commission of Clark County, Ohio, authorizing the necessary tax levies, providing for the certification of this resolution, and the tax levies to the county auditor of Clark County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are the comments from commissioners?
I just want to state this is the one reading resolution that we can vote on tonight, even with 3 commissioners present. And the necessity is because by October 1st, we have to have the rates and millages accepted for the property tax. This impacts our police levy fund, a police fire pension fund, and the Conservancy District funding. One thing a lot of people confuse is we are dependent on the income tax. We do receive a little bit of property tax, 4.08 mils, but actually only 3 mils actually come to us for operating, which is the police levy fund.
Thank you. Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes. New items? Okay. Was that moved? New items got moved to the beginning. Did we read them?
There were several items moved, well, there were 2 items moved to first readings. The moral obs and supplementals were the first 2
Thanks.
readings. And then the nuisance abatements, the 4 of those were moved back to the second reading list.
Okay.
And item 25024, which was the emergency resolution, was moved to the resolution which you just voted on.
Awesome. Thanks for the explanation. Announcement from commissioners?
I just want to thank the community. I know a lot of people left, but I do want to thank the community for staying engaged in our local government. I do enjoy listening to people that come in and offer up positive solutions and ideas and collaboration to help our city grow in a great way. I encourage that, and I will continue to advocate for the city and the citizens of the city. So again, thank you to the citizens that stay engaged. I appreciate it. I learn a lot from you. Please keep engaged. Thanks.
We all learned a lot, and I appreciate that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we've had a lot going on in the past week, or the past few days. But just wanted to bring awareness to the 23rd anniversary tomorrow of 9/11. And just remember all the innocent lives that were lost that day. I know that day definitely changed my life. My dad deployed to Afghanistan after, and just wanted to say, how thankful we are for the first responders and military.
Yes. So much. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes. Thank you for coming.